Greater Manchester. With memories of Monday night's attack still fresh in the mind, the city's authorities decided to stage the Great City Games, a decision supported by the athletes and event organisers. My name's Ronald McIntosh, and alongside me in the commentary box is Martin Gillingham.
4 athletes, 4 lanes on the track. We've got 3 Britons, Bianca Williams, Desiree Henry and Asher Phillip. And then Sally Pearson running the first of her 2 events tonight. The second, the 100-metre hurdles, comes up a bit later in the evening. So they get away first time, and breaking well there too from the left is Asher Phillip, and closest to the picture here is Bianca Williams, but going away there is Asher Phillip. Pearson's having a decent run on the far side. Looked to me as if the Australian got there for second, but Asher Phillip was away and clear. The pickup over the first 30 metres was outstanding, and she ran away from the field. But you have to say, Ronald, if we're looking at Sally Pearson and taking that form to the hurdles, she'll be pretty happy with that.
Most certainly. She got out effectively, showing terrific form in the dry phase. By this time, Asher Phillip is already up on the field. Bianca Williams just rocking and rolling a little bit. Asher Phillip demonstrating tremendous form, but Sally Pearson, my goodness, focused and driving all the way through the line. Remember, the Australians have already had their winter season. Martin pointed out, she picked up that 8th 100-metre hurdles title in windy conditions, 12.53. But what flat speed she demonstrated here. Always interesting to study the contrast in forms. You can see Williams on the right, just rocking and rolling a little bit, but a timely dip from Asher Phillip. Sally Pearson dipping effectively as well.
So Asher Phillip confirmed there at 11.48, a season's best performance for her. 2/100ths of a second behind her, Sally Pearson of Australia. Desiree Henry might be a bit disappointed with that. 11.59, didn't really get away.
We take a look at the start list in the men's T44 100 metres. Manuel Di Marino, Johnny Peacock, Arnu Fourie of South Africa, and Mikhail Saitis of Greece. And it's a good clean start. Peacock away very well indeed, so too is Fourie, but now Peacock already away and to his running, and he's blowing this field away. My goodness, Johnny Peacock sprinting towards the line, breaks the tape, 10.92 unofficially. Just a slight headwind, and that is a very impressive piece of sprinting. He dominated pretty much right from the blocks. Fourie went with him for the first few strides, but then Peacock, the reigning double Paralympic gold medalist, found an extra gear and left the rest of the field trailing in his wake.
He's a super mover once he gets into his running, is Johnny Peacock. But the thing that impresses the most is the power through that pickup of the first 30 metres. Such a powerful stride. We were denied the possibility of the great head-to-head between Peacock and Richard Brown, the world record holder, but in his absence, we do get to marvel at the extraordinary talents of that man too from the right. Very impressive knee lift. Compare, for instance, Peacock there with Fourie, the South African, to his right, and Peacock pumping the arms. It's a very good running style indeed.
Quick rundown of the results. Johnny Peacock 10.91, putting clear daylight between himself and the rest of the field. Very impressive performance by the reigning Paralympic champion.
I felt my first 5 minutes was pretty terrible, so that can do some work on, and obviously I was trying to get a sub 10.9, which would have been nice, but yeah, I'll take that for today.
Well, there are the 4 athletes competing in the men's 200 metres hurdles. Jack Green goes for Great Britain there in lane 2. Sebastian Roger in 3. Comes here perhaps as the favourite, Roger. Johnny Dutch, an outstanding talent, the American, there in lane 4. So Dutch on the left, quickly away. It's a very fine sprint hurdler, and Johnny Dutch showing good running here. running the 7-stride pattern, and he's leaving there Jack Green well behind. This is impressive from Johnny Dutch, showing plenty of fitness. Roger starting to come back at him, but Johnny Dutch has got a big lead here, holding on to the end, winning by about 5 metres. That was very impressive from Johnny Dutch. Well, the man's back. He has run a couple of 400-metre hurdles before this season, but didn't really clock times or anything like his best form, but that suggests that Johnny Dutch is on his way back. And you can see there, just so quickly away from the blocks. He's a 13.50 high hurdler, and there are some decent quality 400-metre hurdlers behind him, but they are trailing in his wake.
Right from the first hurdle, he was the first to the opening barrier, to the first barrier, and just consolidated that position, and nobody was able to put him under pressure. They were all chasing his shadow, and the form he maintained over these intermediate barriers was really impressive. He was absolutely heartbroken after his calamitous US trials, when that cutthroat system meant that he had no chance of qualification. First 3 past the post there at the US Olympic trials, he couldn't get there, and he was so disconsolate that he turned his back on the sport. But my goodness, he seems to be back and on a mission here now.
And Johnny Dutch, the time confirmed at 22.48, which is a little bit slower than Andy Turner's and LJ Fun Sales CityGames record from a couple of years ago. Seb Roger, the winner 12 months ago, a full 4/10 of a second behind him.
This is not rehearsed, so I really just went out on luck, and it worked out. I just thank God.
The 2 field events took place in Albert Square, which over the previous 3 days had been where so many had gathered to reflect on the week's tragic events. Starting with a pole vault and having already gone clear at 3 metres 80, Rachel Gibbons of Great Britain followed up with the first-time clearance at 4 metres. That was matched a few moments later by the Commonwealth Games silver medalist Sally Pearson, who was taking her first jump of the competition, also at 4 metres. Chloe Henry of Belgium joined the British pair when she also went clear at that height, though it came at the 2nd attempt for the World Student Games bronze medalist. All 3 failed at the next height, leaving the 2-time Olympic finalist Holly Bradshaw on her own to enter the competition at 4 metres 50. And it almost proved her undoing. This her 3rd and final attempt.
Talk about drama, Manchester. But that's
Windless conditions were almost perfect for the men's long jumpers, the early lead being taken by the young Italian Filippo Randazzo. His first jump going out to 7 metres 72. Lurking in the wings was the reigning world and former Olympic champion Greg Rutherford. His first effort saw him fall short of 8 metres, but he hit the board well in the second round and sailed into the lead with the evening's first 8-metre jump. 8 metres and 8 centimetres.
what a benefit, how much all these athletes appreciate your support there.
Well, we now revert to the track. The next event is the men's 150 metres.
As we see the lineup, Sakanas, Bakari, Akins-Ariti and Kilty. 2 Brits in lanes 3 and 4. So Sakonas, Bakari, Akins-Ariti and Kilty. Got away cleanly. Sakanas got a fantastic start on the near side and he's running away from the rest of the field. Akins-Ariti trying to challenge him now. Richard Kilty with a lot of work to do. Akins-Ariti trying to close the gap, but Sakanas comes again and he's going to coast his way through the finish line. Harry Akins-Ariti in second. But the Koukouris, Stefanos Sakanas, 2-time Olympic semi-finalist over 200 meters, showing that endurance in a time of 15:04 unofficially, maintaining his fantastic start to this season. Got 2 victories over 200 meters already, and his strength was evident here.
Well, he's a 20.09 man at the 200 meters, and you do get a sense that the 150 meter race does rather suit the 200 meter men a bit more than the shorter sprinters. particularly Richard Kilty, who virtually owns the 60-metre straight, but this must have seemed like an awfully long way for him. But Tsakonas was the fastest away. He's certainly been the boldest throughout this race.
But look at that, 15:04 with clear daylight between himself and the rest of the field. New lifetime best for the top two finishers, and indeed Solomon Bakori.
It's a difficult event. I've run sometimes like half a second quicker than that, and then sometimes down, so sometimes it's difficult to gauge how you pace it. So it's pretty difficult. You do get 100-metre split, but no one's like flat out through 100, so it's a difficult one. But the main thing is come out here having fun, and for the people of Manchester, that was the main thing to put on the show for them.
Back to the track, and the women's T43 and T44 100 metres. So we have the athletes who finished first, fourth and fifth in the Rio Paralympic final here. Well, Van Rijn was a little bit slowly away over on the far side. Laura Sugar getting away fast, and so too Sophie Camlish. And it's Camlish here, but Van Rijn starting to come back at her now, and you can see Van Rijn, the experience, but I don't think she got there. Terrific performance there from Sophie Camlish from Team Bath. The wind proving a positive benefit to her, plus 1.2 metres per second at her back, but I think Sophie Camlish just hung on to it. Van Rijn was certainly the fastest athlete over the last 30 or 40 metres, but it was that start from Sophie Camlish which in the end has proved decisive.
Well, the T44 athletes generally get out just a little bit more explosively than the T43. Marlou Van Rijn, a double amputee, and in her own class it's that late surge which often proved decisive. But Sophie Camlish, the 20-year-old, she must have sensed that Marlou Van Rijn was closing in on her stride by stride, pumping the arms and timing her dip wonderfully.
Well, just 2/100ths of a second and another metre, and I think Van Rijn may well have got there, but 13.24 to 13.26. Laura Sugar, away fastest of all. She hung on for third place, 13.63.
It's the first time I've ever beaten Marlou, so it's a feeling I've never had before. So yeah, I'm really pleased.
I have to say I am so impressed by the people from Manchester to come out here and show that love is so much stronger than hate, and just here to support us and have so much joy. So for me, even though it were 200ths of a second, I had really had a lot of fun.
Having already won the pole vault at 4:50 and started to rediscover some form, Holly Bradshaw turned her attention to climbing higher into the Manchester evening sky. She got over 4:62, and this was her first attempt at breaking her own British outdoor record. Claire at 4:72, a 1 centimetre increase on the national record. What a night it was proving to be for the Lancastrian, whose pole vault career had started in Manchester. This time the bar raised to 480. A second British record, the performance of the evening. And that final clearance there at 480, sailing way over the bar. Next time it could well be 4 meters 90.
Lady who's just broken her own personal best twice in one afternoon, Holly Bradshaw.
The Uruguayan Emiliano Larsa came into the fourth and final round of the long jump in second place. His opening effort of 7 meters 80, 38 centimeters short of Greg Rutherford, but he saved his best for last. This jump just falling short of 8 meters, 7.96. As for Rutherford, he'd followed up his 8.08 in the second round with 7.92 in the third. But his final jump saw him hit the sort of early season form that promises so much for later in the summer. Perfectly on the board, 8 meters 18, An emphatic victory there for the European and world champion. What chance of repeat success in London in August?
I really thought this wasn't going to be a good competition for me, but it was very important, I think, for me to come here and test myself. But I'm absolutely thrilled with that. Like, genuinely very, very surprised, but over the moon. I'm probably the second best ever opening competition I've had in my career, I think. So to do that here, I am, as I say, thrilled.
It kind of took me by surprise how great the conditions were, and then once I got into my zone, then to jump 72 and then 82 British records, I'm so chuffed.
What a lineup we have here. Lane 1, Andrew Robertson, local lad from Sale, Kim Collins, James Dasaolu and Joel Fearon. Collins got away very well indeed, and he's heading the field. Andrew Robertson also going well, and he's between Collins and Robertson at the moment. Now Dasaolu beginning to show his power. Collins is pulled up, Dasaolu takes it. Fearon, I think, was second. Robertson in third, and Kim Collins, my goodness, the Iron Man of track and field, still going strong at 41 years of age. The world age 40 record holder at 60 meters and 100. But he's come to grief there in the middle of the track. Just had to apply the brakes sharply. We don't know what it is. It might be a case of cramp. But he wasn't able to drive through the finish line.
Yes, Collins a little bit slowly away, but his pickup outstanding. But you can see there the tightness. It came over the period of about 15 or 20 meters. Doesn't look a particularly serious injury, but I don't know, the old legs letting him down tonight. Good run at this stage from Andrew Robertson, who I thought was very unlucky to be disqualified in those European Indoor Championships. But Dasaolu, so much talent, hasn't always produced it when it matters. But when he's going well, believe me, he's a real handful. And in the end, he's running away from this field. Joel Fearon will be pretty happy there on the left, coming through for second, the Birchfield Harrier.
10.25 for Dasaolu. Fearon second in 10.3, Andrew Robertson in third, 10.41. Kim Collins limping over the line in fourth, 11.15.
It's my first time doing this meet, so obviously it's not as good as weather, but we're just loving the weather out here as athletes. As a raceman, I think I didn't get as good a start as possible, but I've been working on the back end of my race, the endurance aspect, and I think that kind of told towards the back end of the race, so yeah.
Yeah, I have to finish strong, and I just need to just relax and know that it will come. But sometimes you want it too bad, and you just have to relax. And I have to realize I have nothing to prove at 41. Just have fun.
Well, it is a truly international field for this men's high hurdles. Andreas Martinsen of Denmark in one, Orlando Ortega, the former Cuban, now wearing the colours of Spain in two, David King of Great Britain in three, and Aurel Manga of France in lane 4. Ortega has been on his travels recently, won the Shanghai Diamond League meeting, and he's going strongly here, and it is Ortega who has the lead, nearest to the camera there. Martinsen have come through on the far side, Manga of France, but it is Orlando Ortega who takes it very close for second place between David King and Aurel Manga. But 13.50, the unofficial time there for Orlando Ortega. He has been something of a world traveller recently, so maybe a bit of that travel in his legs, but he was very strong through the opening half of the race and just hung on to it comfortably.
Yeah, the speed and the time not perhaps impressive, but his hurdling technique was very, very clean. But he was never unduly troubled. Ortega, but didn't really put the accelerator down. Had a favourable tailwind behind him, but even coming over the line, well, you can see he was just in cruise control, really.
And it is Manga who gets second place, despite sharing the same time as the Briton. 13.50 confirmed as the winning time for Spain's Orlando Ortega.
This is my second time here in Manchester, so I feel so happy. I like so much this competition in the street with the people, with everybody support. So I feel so happy.
The women's 100 meters, we've got Cynthia Philly, Tiffany Porter, Sally Pearson, and Isabel Pedersen of Norway. Good clean start. Who will be first to rise? It's Tiffany Porter in lane 2, and she's ahead of the... Oh, that is a bit of a stumble from Porter. Going Pedersen on the inside is going very well indeed, but now here comes Pearson fighting back. She crossed the line first, holding off Pedersen. My goodness, what an incident-filled race, because Tiff Porter got away well indeed, but then she lost her rhythm in the middle of the race. Isabel Pedersen then threatened over on the far side in lane 4, but Sally Pearson showing her fighting qualities, fighting her way over the hurdles and coming away to take first place.
Well, it was between the 7th and the 8th flights that proved decisive, and it was the competitive spirit which clearly still burns very brightly within Sally Pearson, sensing that Pedersen to her right maybe just be getting the better of her. But the Australian, who after 3 dark years is getting back to the sport and getting back to form. Pedersen has it here, but you can just sense now that the Australian digs deep just to make sure she's got enough to get across the line. Look at the determination across her face. Pedersen on the left is starting to strain. The sisters on the right, I'm afraid, are well out of it. But here we saw the former world champion, and could this be the rejuvenation of her career? Could she yet prove to be a contender when we get to the World Championships in London? I must say, my gut feeling is she will be.
So Sally Pearson taking first place in 12.81, Isabel Pedersen 12.94, Tiff Porter just edging out her sister 13.03 to Cynthia Feely's 13.07.
It was so messy from, I think, probably every single athlete in that race. I had the worst start, and then Sydney was hitting some hurdles, Tiffany, sorry, was hitting some hurdles, and then Isabel came up. I'm like, oh my God, just stay strong, just stay strong. And I probably had the worst race of my life. I was really messy, but I guess I was the one who stayed on my feet the longest and got across the finish line first.
Well, that concludes a great night of athletics here in Manchester. We'll be back in the autumn with the Great North City Games and the Great North Run. Until then, keep up to date on our website, greatrun.org. From Manchester, it's goodbye.